Here's KATC Chief Meteorologist Rob Perillo.
Welcome back. Well, unfortunately, it's all going to be about Hurricane Delta and its potential impacts, and maybe it looking like likely impacts here in Acadiana. Category 2, perhaps a Category 3 storm, and it's going to be a large one moving inland, and in some aspects it will be worse than Laura on storm surge, and it will be worse than Laura here in Acadiana wind-wise, but hopefully not as bad as what Laura was in southwest Louisiana. So let's get to the satellite imagery and show you the big picture here. We have a powerful storm, though. This is a strong Category 4, and it's going to be bucking up to perhaps close to Category 5 prior to making landfall, first landfall tonight across the northeastern tip of the Yucatan. And the question is, how is this going to react once it moves over land? How much will it weaken? Will land change the trajectory of this system in either direction compared to what our models are thinking? So by this time tomorrow, this is going to be out in the Gulf of Mexico, and we'll have a very excellent idea on where this is going to go. But unfortunately, we've had very consistent computer models that are forecasting this thing to strike Louisiana. Just about every model you look at this point. And look at this storm, really wound up today, not looking nearly as organized, so it has leveled off a little bit, but pressures could still drop, and this could still be very close to a Cat 5 or maybe at a Cat 5 as it moves across the Yucatan, expected with 155-mile-an-hour winds. That's just short of a Cat 5. Right now, 145, pressure at 956 millibars, and the computer models want to bring the system down into the 930s again as we get into the western part of the Gulf of Mexico. So that bodes well for a re-strengthening and perhaps back up to a Category 4 for sure. 130-mile-per-hour winds may weaken just a little bit as it gets closer to land, but it's not going to be enough. So this is going to be coming in at a much more rougher angle. It's going to be a larger storm, a larger wind circulation, so you're going to have a bigger surge and a surge that's going to be well east of what we had with Laura. So Sippermore Point, maybe back through Intracoastal City, all the way down through Salt Point. I'm thinking an 8 to 14-foot surge, and it might be more. We'll have to wait and see. But the storm is going to be moving along at a good clip, so that could limit the surge a little bit. We'll talk more about that. But plan on a Category 3 making landfall here as we go into the latter part of Friday and into Friday night. Now, the forecast timing may change. Here's the latest GFS model, which has been a little bit faster than the Hurricane Center forecast track. Here we are going into Thursday evening. Winds begin to pick up overnight Thursday, increase through Friday morning. Some tropical showers Thursday, Friday, but the big action coming in as we head into Friday afternoon and evening. And look, GFS pretty much on track with the National Hurricane Center's forecast track. So in very rough weather here, high winds, wind gusts probably at 100 or better, and then pushing on through quickly. So this is the good news. It's going to be a short-lived hurricane period where we go through about 4 to 6 hours of very rough weather, and then it calms down. But all the damage will be done during the course of that time frame. Here's the graph model. We're going to be using this more so tomorrow, but just want to show you that this shows a wound-up storm. It did an excellent job with Laura and Sally. And this does not bode well for Louisiana when you have a storm right along the Texas-Louisiana border and then beginning to make a move to the northeast. So that's going to give us and maximize the storm surge, especially across Iberia and St. Mary parishes as well. So here we are Friday morning, moving in for Friday evening. Timing on this looks pretty good. So here's your hurricane wind probabilities. Yesterday we were in the 10% range. Now we're in the 30% range, and these numbers are only going to go up. This is for sustained winds 74 or greater, so that is bad news for us. A quick look at the GFS model here showing sustained winds and G. Next to the G, that's gusts. So the winds picking up as we head into Friday. This area of purple right here are wind gusts better than 74 miles an hour, and the white is better than 100-mile-an-hour gusts. So we're going to see winds picking up, and this is just one model, and the GFS is underdoing, I think, the pressure and intensity of this. But nonetheless, we're going to see gusts over hurricane force, almost guaranteed. Sustained winds in the 40, 50, 60-mile-an-hour range, even away from those tropical rain bands. As for rainfall, again, moving along quickly, but look at this, about a 4 to 8 inch rainfall likely for most of Acadiana. Isolated amounts up to 10, but flooding the least issue compared to the wind and the storm surge. So the tide and the surge is going to be track dependent. I'm going to say 4 to 8 feet minimally. We won't get actual hard numbers from the National Hurricane Center until a hurricane and storm surge watch is issued. Could be up to 8 to 14 near and east of the center. So that's my number for right now. That number could go up. It's probably not going to go down. Rainfall is not going to change. 4 to 8 likely, maybe up to 10 in isolated areas. So our risk is moderate risk for flooding, rainfall, but a high risk of a big storm surge. Wind damage 45 to 70 mile per hour sustained winds with gusts up to 100 to 120, and that window is going to be late Friday into Friday night, ending it looks like before daybreak Saturday. And then with those winds, expect widespread power outages. If you remember with Hurricane Lily that came in generally in Vermilion Parish, went through Lafayette, 97-98% of all of Acadiana was without power, and some folks were without that power for more than a week, in some cases up to nearly 2 weeks in the city of Lafayette. Just talked to our friends in Lake Charles. So be prepared for power outages and have enough supplies to last you a couple of weeks. We used to say 3 to 5 days or a week. Now it's got to be 2 weeks because you're on your own after these storms for sure. So tomorrow, a good day to get those supplies. Get a hurricane plan in place. You want to be out of a mobile home. If you're thinking about evacuating, again, you want to get away into a more substantial home that is not surrounded by big lumbering trees that could come down. That's been most of our fatalities with the big storms of late. Tomorrow is going to be a relatively quiet day. Action picks up Thursday with tropical showers coming in, the big winds, damaging winds, power outages Friday night, and the bottom line, prepare for major hurricane impacts coming our way. We might get lucky and this is going to be a 2, but at this point it's going to be a very large storm with most of the area impacted with this storm, and quite severely at that. That's it for weather for right now. We'll have more coming up right after this.